This is the Spirit and Wellness Show. News and information from a higher perspective. With your host, Harry Wilkinson.
Yes, hello, this is your host, Harry Wilkinson, and welcome to the Spirit and Wellness Show. This is the show where we take a look at the days and weeks, events, happenings in the world, happenings in politics, happenings internationally, sports, technology, all of these things that interact with us in our daily lives, all of these stories that impact us, and we take a step back and we look at it from a higher perspective. We try to get an idea of what's going on from the perspective of what we're creating, from the perspective of we are creating this world around us on many different levels. And quantum physics shows us how interactive our thoughts and our creative ability is in creating a world. And oftentimes we don't recognize what we've created. We look at things as if they are coming at us from outside, when they are really coming from us, from inside. And when we look at it from that perspective, and we get an idea of what's kind of going on, what we're creating, we connect to that inner source that is, involved and intertwined in it all. And if we can connect to that, we can be informed in a different way by all of these things. We can be informed not so much intellectually, although that's part of it, but we are informed on a deeper level about the truth of who and what we are, about our connections to the world, and a greater understanding that, the best way to put it is that we go beyond our bodies. And I know there's an awful lot of people who aren't comfortable with that idea. It's very comforting for some people to feel that limitation, to say that this is it and there's nothing more. And so you have the continuing debates and arguments about things like, the afterlife and all of those kinds of things. I don't advocate for any of those belief systems or a particular set of dogmas regarding the afterlife or those sorts of things that in traditional religion are governed by either the writings of ancient times or the rules and regulations of a particular religion. But it's clear to me, and science supports it, that we are more than our physical bodies. And what that means, well, that's what we continue to explore. That's what we continue to find out. And any discipline, any belief system that in one way or another blocks us from doing that, blocks us from that exploration, quite often by proclaiming that they have all the answers, anything that blocks that is something that I believe isn't particularly healthy for us. My sense of it, and I'm getting to what our topic today is, which is part 2 of our mental health and spirituality, or self-healing and mental health connection. Spirituality is an essential part of our nature. And science has, defined that. Science has determined that. We have a gene, the VMAT2 gene, which is the gene that makes us able to have transcendent experiences that go beyond the self, if you will. So that's a truth of our nature. Now, how we deal with those things, how we deal with our spirituality, is part of the choices that we make in becoming who and what we are. For some, that sense of spirituality is very discomforting in some ways. And for many people, a sense of not knowing is unacceptable. And so in many cases, we turn over our spirituality to organizations, religions, gurus, maybe even self-help plans that tell us we've got it all under control. We know how you need to do this, and this is what you do. Other people are more comforted by the fact that there isn't anything to worry about or think about in that realm. The idea that all we have is here now our physical bodies, and after that there's nothing to think about. And that's very empowering too, because what that does is that it focuses you on the here and now, which is also a very important thing to do, and gives you an appreciation, hopefully, of your surroundings, and gets you to do what you need to do today to make this life the best that it can be. So that's an interesting approach too. But again, it's one that may block you from exploring the full range of what you are. So, there is the idea that, religion and science are incompatible. That is, to me, the ultimate falsehood. Well, maybe not the ultimate falsehood, but certainly a big one. Science and spirituality have to and do work together. Now, there are those people who consider themselves to be religious, who don't think much of science. But they tend to be in the minority. Unfortunately, on the other side of the issue, there are those who, for whom science was really the religion. And they believe so much in science. And they hear the, small percentage of religious people who disparage science, and they see that as being indicative of all religions everywhere. And of course, their adherence and belief in science, of course, is unassailable. And they're as dogmatic in their belief system that science is infallible, which of course we know it's not, as people from the other side who come from a religious dogmatic perspective can be. And unfortunately, both approaches block you from full experience, I believe, of who and what we are. And I think that's a big part, to me, I think that's a big part of mental health issues. We talked about, and I gave you statistics in last week's show about the rising amount of people who are dealing with mental health issues. And the rising amount of medications that are being, prescribed to deal with these things. And it's, to me, I think you can see it in the kind of the detachment or the separation that we've had, in these setting up these real straw men that all religious people are anti-science. Absolutely untrue. That all scientific people are against any kind of spiritual belief. That's also untrue. But there are enough people with a lot of mouths that keep talking, to make others believe that that's what's really happening. I do believe that spirituality, as I have said, is a part of the human experience, an undeniable part of being who we are. I believe it's as much a part and as ingrained in the human experience as the sense of smell, touch, taste. I think we all have a sense of spirituality. And as I've said, it's how we use it or how comfortable we are with it that is really what determines it. And if you're not comfortable at all, you can completely deny it and block it and say that it doesn't exist, as many people who consider themselves to be atheists do. Others will, as I say, turn their spirituality over to belief systems, and allow others to dictate to them how their spirituality is supposed to manifest, and the things that you're supposed to do. And I tell you that I am sometimes guilty of that in doing this show, and in giving people ideas of ways to meditate. But I try not to be dogmatic in saying that this is the only way to meditate. And I think that my insistence on the importance of meditation is, again, it's not a dogma. It's just something that has shown, just through scientific research and also from personal experiences, I think there are a lot of benefits to it. So while giving these guides, one has to also be careful not to be too dogmatic in saying that this is the right way that you do this is the right way to be spiritual, because there is no one right way to do that. But I think one of the bravest things that we can do as people is to take, full control and responsibility for our spirituality and experience it and explore it while being in the not knowing. So one of the one of the people that I think really exemplifies this